Welcome to today's preview of the NAGARA 2017 annual conference. We're excited that you are joining us today, and we hope that after this 30-minute conference preview, you will be thrilled and excited to join the conference in Boise. Great planning and preparation has gone into this thus far, and that's by the Board of Directors of NAGARA, by the Local Arrangements Committee, our folks on the ground there in Boise, as well as our Program Committee. Today's conference preview will allow David and Annette from the Local Arrangements Committee to talk to you more about the exciting host city Boise and some of the excellent evening receptions that we have planned for you. And then we'll turn the time over to Debbie Bond, the chair of the Program Committee, who will get to describe to you some of the exciting pre-conference workshops and educational sessions that will be available for attendees. If you haven't already, we invite you to visit nagara.org/2017 annual conference. This is the conference website, and here you'll find information on registering, on the event and schedule, as well as how to make your reservation with the Riverside Hotel, which is our conference sponsor, our conference host hotel. But we want to take a quick moment here to thank all of our conference sponsors and our Platinum Conference sponsors, Ancestry and Zazio. We appreciate their generous contributions, which make this conference possible and reduce the ticket price that each of you pay. Now, without any further ado, I will turn the time over to David and Annette, our folks on the ground there in Boise, to talk to you more about the exciting things that we have planned and the great host city, Boise, Idaho.
Well, welcome everybody to Boise, Idaho. We're incredibly excited about having the 2017 NAGARA conference here in our beautiful city and state. This is a view looking down from the old depot, train depot towards the Capitol. Looks like it was taken in the fall. So this is the Riverside Hotel, which the conference is going to be at this year. It's in a beautiful location on the Boise River. It's approximately 5.5, 6 miles from the State Archives and about 3 miles from the center of downtown Boise. The Boise Greenbelt, which is a trail that runs along a great length of the Boise River, is right outside of the hotel, which will allow people to get out and explore the beautiful outdoors right here in the heart of Boise. And there's a number of small local restaurants in the downtown, in this area, and of course in downtown. Annette's going to talk some more about some of the features of the hotel and this area here.
Well, like David said, it runs along the Boise River and it has a wonderful green belt, and I think we're going to be taking advantage of that during the July 12th pre-conference day. We're offering bike tours with our Boise Green Bike program for an extra $25 with your registration. You'll be riding through the historic Boise East End with some of our staff members. So they can give you kind of an educational tour as well as just explore the wonderful views that we have of our city. We're also going to be offering walking tours, either on the Greenbelt or through Boise, historic Boise downtown. So there's lots to see in our great historic city. Also, we'll have an opportunity for those runners that love to run and exercise to run up to Table Rock. This is a challenging runner hike with a stunning view of Boise and the Treasure Valley. Also, runners will be joining a few of our staff members at the trailhead of the old Idaho Penitentiary for this short run. It's approximately 3 to 4 miles, but as you can see by the picture, it's uphill, so it's very challenging, so that should be really fun. We're also doing some pre-reception tours where we have some evening networking events. And first we'll start off at our Idaho State Archives about 4:30 on the 12th. For those of you that came a day ahead for the pre-conference, we'll be doing Lincoln tours. We have our Abraham Lincoln, His Legacy in Idaho exhibition at the Idaho State Archives, which features over 200 artifacts and documents that reveal the intriguing and significant connections between the 16th president and the 43rd state. This collection that we have is donated by our former Lieutenant Governor, David Leroy, and his wife, Nancy. We'll also be doing a presentation by our State Historic Preservation Office and their staff, speaking towards the National Register program that we have here at our Idaho State Historical Society, and looking at different distinct types of national registers, which include building structures, sites, objects, and districts. So that should be really fun and exciting to learn some rich history of Idaho as well. And then we will be having a behind-the-scenes tour of the Idaho State Archive, as well as having on exhibition the Snake River Basin Adjudication Decree. So that should be really fun and exciting from 4:30 to 6:30. And then we'll be moving on up to the Idaho Old State Penitentiary. The Idaho Territory Pen was, the Idaho Territory, was less than 10 years old when the territorial prison was built in 1870. And the pen grew from a single cell house into a complex of several distinctive buildings surrounded by high stone walls that actually the convicts quarried from the Table Rock area. So it's really an exciting and great historic site for us. Plus we'll have the opportunity to walk through one of the nation's largest collections of historic arms and military memorabilia, which is our J. Earl exhibit. In that evening, we'll be offering a local jazz band, which is actually a trio of one of our staff members and a couple of his buddies that have a jazz band, so that should be real exciting. Light refreshments, a cash bar with some local brews, and then also provide a lot of networking with all your fellow attendees. Plus, for that, those of you that attend this evening reception, you'll have a special gift bag.
I want to talk about the capital event that we're planning for the July 13th. Presently, I'm working on that, and I will be hand carrying the formal request to the Legislative Services Office today, and we are really confident that this is going to happen. There's just a process that we have to go through, and it's really, I think, going to be one of the highlights. It's a beautiful state capitol that was opened in 1913 and was renovated about 2 to 3 years ago, and it's just quite a magnificent building to be in and see. And so we're really excited about that opportunity to have all of our guests have this reception there, and opportunity for people to network in that beautiful, important building. And we're also going to ask somebody from the Capitol Commission, which was the commission that worked on the major renovation that happened, to speak about the history of the building and the work that was done that made it more usable for both the people that work in the building and for the public. So it's something that we're very proud of here in Idaho, and we're really excited to have all of our guests be able to see that with us. One of the areas in Boise we want to talk about that we're having the Friday reception event is what we call the Boise Basque Block neighborhood. Idaho is home to one of the largest Basque populations in the United States, and they bring a lot of their unique culture with them here to Boise, which we all get to share and learn about, and it's a great opportunity to learn about that unique culture and to enjoy some great food that they have at their different restaurants in the Basque Block area. There's 3 sort of key restaurants down there. There's the Luca Ona, Bargarnica, and there's a Basque market. So just a great opportunity to learn about their traditions, see some traditional Basque dancing, hear some traditional Basque music, and of course enjoy some of the great food that they brought with them when they came here and settled in Idaho. Early Basque settlers were sheep herders, and so it's a fascinating culture that has a significant part of Idaho's historical, cultural heritage.
It should be a great closing reception to really wrap up several days networking and learning all week. It should be a real great experience for everybody, like David said, with the bass performances and the traditional music. So it should just be a wonderful way to close out this conference.
Thank you, David and Annette. We appreciate that very much. We have a lot of fun things planned. As they just reviewed, we've got a great host city. We've got some great evening networking events to take your mind off of all of the things that you're going to learn during the day. But you are going to be learning a lot at this conference. And so now we have on the phone here with us Debbie Bond, who is, again, our chair of the program committee for this year's conference. And she's going to talk to you about some of the highlights of the educational aspects that you can anticipate to see there at the conference.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, 2 thumbs up.
All right. I'm going to talk to you, like Johnny said, a little preview of the pre-conference workshops and the educational sessions, but first I want to talk about this year's theme. Each year, the committees for program and for local arrangements collaborate on developing a theme that reflects the local culture of the venue. So this year's theme, Managing the Flow of Information, is meant to capture the sense of Idaho's rivers and water recreation. Now, at the same time, it also represents the content of the conference, that is, information that flows from the source of creation to final disposition, whether that's destruction or preservation in an archival institution. As we know, the flow of archival information doesn't stop with preservation, but it continues on with access and with outreach activities. So this full range of topics will be covered during the conference. Now, before I leave the slide, I want to recognize Jenna Lee Kibert for designing this really eye-catching logo that you see here. Jenna Lee is the digital librarian at the Idaho State Archives, and I think obviously she's talented in the areas outside of information science. Okay, pre-conference workshops. This year NAGARA is offering 3 pre-conference workshops, and they're conducted by our valued partners, ACA, that's the Academy of Certified Archivists, ICRM, the Institute of Certified Records Managers, and IIMC, the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. The ACA workshop is going to be a 3-hour exam prep activity, and this will be really valuable for those thinking about becoming a certified archivist. Because it's an exam prep workshop, it's not eligible for education points or credits. The ICRM workshop is also an exam prep activity. It lasts for the full day, and it covers all 6 parts of the exam for the CRM designation. Now keep in mind, too, that parts 2 through 4 cover ICRM's newest credential, which is the Certified Records Analyst, or CRA. Again, because it's an exam prep activity, no education points or credits are offered, but as a bonus, breakfast and lunch are included. And then finally, the IIMC is conducting a full day of training, and this is broken into 2 parts. Part 1 is designing and benchmarking an RIM program based on best practices, and Part 2 is implementing a municipal electronic records management strategy. Certified municipal clerks participating in both sections are going to earn a total of 4 maintenance points, and breakfast and lunch are included with this pre-conference workshop as well. So if you want to know more about these workshops, you can see the program session descriptions on the NAGARA website. Now let's talk about the conference sessions. I want to tell you that this year all sessions are going to be 90 minutes. We made that change based on feedback from previous conferences. Attendees often felt rushed to get from one session to another while, trying to fit in personal needs on the run. And also session presenters were sometimes pressured to quickly tear down so that the next set of presenters could sit up. And they often have to do this while answering questions from lingering audience members. So we built in a little cushion there. It doesn't mean that every session is going to have speaking for 90 minutes, but we really hope this new timing makes for a more relaxed atmosphere for our, the attendees. So, networking sessions. This was a new feature last year that launched the opening of the sessions, and it was really popular. 3 rooms were set up, one for federal, one for state, and one for local government employees. And moderators led participants in ad hoc discussions on topics of interest to that particular level of government. So by popular demand, we're going to repeat the networking sessions, and we've added a 4th category this year, one for university and college records professionals. Now, I'm hoping to solicit different ideas from attendees as they check in at the registration desk. Maybe I'll have a little form for people to fill out with suggested topics. Then we can pursue the most popular ones during the discussions. Next up, the hot topics. We tried to select a variety of topics from among this year's proposals. As always, electronic records issues, that is creation, management, preservation, and access. Those continue to be very popular, but we also have some really interesting non-electronic topics. For example, corporate culture isn't a topic that we've seen a lot of in past conferences. Well, this year staff from the Texas State Library and Archives Commission have a session about the career ladder that was developed and implemented within their records management assistance unit. At another session, staff from Warren County, Ohio will share their very successful Facebook outreach program. Then in the area of ethics, we have presenters who will lead a discussion on politicians seeking to restrict their public records. And yet another offering is a session on the challenges, especially for local agencies, of housing collections in historic or repurposed buildings, which presents, of course, less than ideal environments for preservation and access. Now, in the area of electronic records, we typically have a wide variety of sessions on records management and archival issues. I'll mention just a couple of them here. There's a session featuring 3 different repositories' experiences with researching and preparing for compliance with the Trusted Digital Repository certification. This is a really timely topic because the very first certifying bodies are just now being trained. Also, the Washington State Archive staff will be showing some of the newest innovations for their digital archive, and they'll actually be giving away copies of one of their tools. I know that when people go to conferences, they like to take useful information back to their offices. So the Washington State Archives is giving away their batch image corrector, and this greatly increases the productivity of large-scale scanning projects. It does a variety of tasks in huge batches, and the tool will come in handy for processing the millions of images created by the GSU or Family Search Scanning projects. And I know that many repositories are trying to process images from this nationwide, or sorry, I think it's a worldwide project. So many agencies are going to find this tool useful. There are many other interesting sessions. If you want to learn more about them, again, go to the NAGARA website for details on the full program. Quickly, poster presentations. We'll also offer our traditional poster session. Submissions are still being submitted for this category, or still being accepted through the end of April. I think it's April 28th, so spread the word on that. And finally, ACA and ICRM credits. Those 2 organizations are currently reviewing our conference program, and we're awaiting word for them. I know that last year the credits for the full conference were a total of 6 for ACA and 10 for ICRM. And that is it for me. I'm going to throw it back to you, Johnny.
Thanks so much, Deb. Appreciate very much your presentation there. So you can see from David and from Annette's presentation the fun networking aspects of the conference, the receptions, the beauty of Boise, and you can see hopefully from Deb's presentation on the value and the content that will be presented both as pre-conference workshops on Wednesday, July 12th, and then the full session program that runs Thursday, Friday, and all through Saturday morning. We also have invited to this conference some great keynote speakers, 3 of them listed currently on the screen for you to see. During our opening general session on Thursday morning, we'll have the pleasure of hearing Lawrence Brewer. He's the Chief Records Officer of the United States. This is a new addition to the conference. He's not spoken in the past. We'll have a repeat with David Ferriero, the Archivist of the United States. He will be speaking to the conference attendees during the Friday morning business meeting of NAGARA, and also during the Friday annual awards luncheon, which is a new feature of the conference where various conference partners will be able to present recognition and awards to their various members for certifications and other means, or for other awards. We'll also have a keynote address by the Honorable Chief Justice Robert Burdick. He's from the Idaho Supreme Court. These are invited speakers. We say invited keynote speakers because, as you know, keynote speakers can oftentimes find themselves double booked last minute for whatever reason or on the wrong flight, and there always can be conflict. So yes, these individuals have expressed their interest. We've received confirmations from many of them, but we always leave the last minute option that something could come up. And so we want to make sure that what we say is measured here. They're invited keynote speakers. They intend to be there, but we need to leave that gap where they may not attend. These are fantastic addresses that the full conference attendees will get to participate in, and we're excited about that. Now, we understand that as government employees, paying to come to a conference is always a touchy subject. So this year, new to NAGARA is the Justification Toolkit, which we have prepared to help attendees make the case to their supervisor about attending the conference. You can find this by visiting the annual conference website, clicking on the event detail on the top right, and then on the series of tabs in the screen, the Justification Toolkit. This Justification Toolkit has 4 components, which you can't really well see in this picture, but they're here to illustrate. This first one is a customizable letter to your supervisor describing the purpose and your intent to attend the conference. We've done all of the legwork for you, nearly all of the legwork, and all you'll need to do is plug in your certain job aspects, the things you intend to learn from the conference, what you plan to take back to your office to share, and a couple of other odds and ends, such as under the benefits worksheet, the benefits you intend to report on, and the expense worksheet. These will vary for each attendee. There'll be different flight costs, lodging costs, transportation, things of that nature. But these have been prepared to help you assemble a package together to make the best case to your supervisor to obtain funding to attend the annual conference. And then, as the cherry on top, here you only see the cover page, but we have prepared a skeleton copy of a post-conference report that you can then share with your office, with your supervisor and others, to show the value of the things that you've learned, the lessons, the examples that you want to take home after the conference. As a whole, this toolkit will, we anticipate, increase the likelihood that you'll be able to receive funding from your office. Now, we do recognize and understand that not every office, regardless of what good a case you make, will be able to fund your attendance at this year's conference in Boise. We sure hope that you can come. We really anticipate a large attendance this year. Registration numbers are already quite large relative to the past few years, and we hope to see you there. But there are some other alternative funding sources that we wanted to make you aware of. These are all local and depends on which state you live in. But I've heard from 3 separate conference attendees who had gone to their local historical societies in the state, and other historical entities, state boards, things of that nature, and wrote a letter to them using this justification toolkit and said, if you give me some funding to attend this conference, I in return will present to this historical society or to your members or whoever offers the funding the things that I've learned. So you send me, you pay for me to go, I will then return and report to you on the things that I learned. So if your supervisor office can't fund you, there are other ways, and we've had some members be successful in that respect. We want to remind you here at the closing of this preview of some of the important things of the conference. Obviously, the conference is July 12th through 15th in Idaho, there at the Riverside Hotel. And you can see the registration numbers, registration fees at the bottom. We encourage you, strongly encourage you, to register before the end of the month. That's when you can take advantage of the benefit of the reduced discount with early bird pricing. It's $285 if you're a member, $325 if you're not a member. Now, joining and becoming a member is actually more advantageous and will save you on your registration costs if you're not already a member. So please consider doing that. And of course, we really hope to see you in Boise. We've got great things lined up, a great program, great receptions. A lot of work has gone into this. And if you haven't already purchased your ticket, we encourage you to do so before the end of the month when regular pricing kicks in May 1st. So thank you, David, and thank you, Annette and Deb, for presenting today to our attendees. And to all of you who have joined us, we will see you in Boise. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you, Johnny.
You're probably muted.